Ladies and gentlemen, there is a powerful force in this world, one that shapes not only our personal fulfillment, but also our professional growth. It is not talent alone, nor ambition, nor even intelligence. It is gratitude. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It is a way of seeing the world, an approach to life that transforms obstacles into lessons, setbacks into stepping stones, and achievements into moments of shared joy. It reminds us that no success is ours alone, and that every step forward is made possible by those who support, challenge, and inspire us. In our personal lives, gratitude deepens our connections. It allows us to acknowledge the love, kindness, and generosity of others. It strengthens relationships, nurtures empathy, and fosters resilience. Those who practice gratitude are not weighed down by what they lack, but lifted by what they have. Gratitude has the power to reshape not only our mindset, but also the very course of our lives. It is not merely an emotion or a polite response. It is a perspective, a lens through which we view the world. When we cultivate gratitude, we unlock a profound shift in our thinking, one that allows us to see possibilities where others see limitations, to find meaning in adversity, and to appreciate the journey as much as the destination. At its core, gratitude transforms our challenges into opportunities for growth. Life does not always unfold as we expect. We face disappointments, setbacks, and obstacles that test our resolve. But when we choose gratitude, we begin to see even our struggles as valuable lessons. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we start to ask, "What can I learn from this?" This simple shift in perspective turns difficulties into stepping stones, pushing us toward resilience and self-improvement. Gratitude also transforms our relationships. In a world that often prioritizes individual success, it is easy to overlook the contributions of those around us. But when we practice gratitude, we recognize that no one succeeds alone, and support of others. By expressing appreciation, whether to a mentor or a friend or a colleague, we not only strengthen our bonds, but also create a culture of kindness, respect, and mutual upliftment. A simple thank you can spark motivation, reinforce trust, and inspire continued collaboration. Beyond personal relationships, gratitude reshapes our professional journey. In the workplace, it is easy to focus solely on results, deadlines, goals, and achievements. However, true success is not just about reaching the finish line. It is about appreciating the process and the people who help us get there. Gratitude in leadership fosters loyalty. Gratitude in teamwork builds unity. And gratitude in learning accelerates growth. The most inspiring leaders are those who acknowledge their team's efforts. The most valued employees are those who appreciate opportunities. And the most successful individuals are those who remain thankful for every experience, good or bad. Perhaps most importantly, gratitude transforms us. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. It silences the voice of comparison and replaces it with contentment. It reminds us that even in our pursuit of more, we are already surrounded by abundance. When we adopt an attitude of gratitude, we live with greater joy, confidence, and fulfillment. Knowing that success is not just about reaching new heights, but about appreciating every step of the journey. In the end, gratitude is not just something we feel, it is something we live. And when we live with gratitude, we do not just change our circumstances, we change ourselves. And that, more than anything, is the true measure of transformation. Relationships are the foundation of our personal and professional lives. Whether it's family, friendships, romantic partnerships, or workplace connections, the quality of our relationships often determines our overall happiness and success. At the heart of every strong relationship lies one simple yet powerful force: gratitude. When we express appreciation for the people in our lives, we nurture trust, deepen emotional bonds, and create an environment where love, respect, and cooperation thrive. Gratitude strengthens relationships by fostering a sense of value and belonging. Every person, no matter who they are, wants to feel seen, heard, and appreciated. When we acknowledge the kindness, effort, and presence of others, we affirm their worth. A simple thank you or a heartfelt note of appreciation can brighten someone's day, making them feel valued and respected. This in turn builds stronger, more meaningful connections that can withstand the challenges of life. In personal relationships, gratitude acts as a bridge between hearts. It reminds us not to take our loved ones for granted. Over time, it's easy to fall into routines where we assume the people closest to us already know how much they mean to us. However, unspoken appreciation can sometimes be mistaken for indifference. Regularly expressing gratitude, whether through words, actions, or small gestures, it reinforces our love and deepens our connection. When partners, friends, and family members feel genuinely appreciated, they are more likely to reciprocate kindness, creating a positive cycle of love and support. Gratitude also strengthens relationships by shifting our focus from flaws to virtues. No one is perfect, and every relationship will experience moments of frustration or misunderstanding. However, gratitude helps us see beyond temporary irritations and focus on the good in the people around us. Instead of dwelling on what someone may lack or mistake they've made, we remind ourselves of their kindness, patience, and the many ways they have enriched our lives. This perspective fosters forgiveness, reduces conflicts, and helps relationships flourish despite inevitable ups and downs. In professional settings, gratitude plays an equally vital role. The workplace is not just a space for productivity, it is a network of relationships that determine teamwork, collaboration, and overall success. When leaders express gratitude for their employees, they create a culture of respect and motivation. Employees who feel valued are more engaged, dedicated, and willing to go the extra mile. Similarly, when colleagues show appreciation for one another, they foster an environment of mutual respect and cooperation. A workplace where gratitude is practiced is one where people work not just for a paycheck, but for a shared purpose and sense of belonging. Beyond its immediate effects, gratitude strengthens relationships by creating lasting memories. Think about the times when someone expressed deep appreciation for you, perhaps a mentor who acknowledged your hard work, a friend who thanked you for simply being there, or a loved one who reminded you how much you mean to them. These moments stay with us, reinforcing the emotional bonds we share. By making gratitude a consistent part of our interactions, we create a legacy of love, kindness, and positive energy that lasts far beyond the present moment. Ultimately, relationships are built on the small moments of appreciation we share each day. The more we express gratitude, the more we nurture trust, loyalty, and happiness in our connections. It does not take grand gestures to strengthen relationships, just a sincere heart, a few kind words, and the willingness to recognize the goodness in others. In doing so, we not only strengthen our relationships, but also enrich our own lives with love, support, and a sense of true belonging. In the fast-paced world of professional life, success is rarely a solo endeavor. It is built on collaboration, shared goals, and the collective effort of teams. However, for teamwork to thrive, one essential ingredient must be present: trust. Trust is the foundation upon which strong professional relationships are built, and gratitude plays a key role in strengthening this foundation. When gratitude is embedded in workplace culture, it fosters an environment of mutual respect, cooperation, and motivation, leading to increased productivity and overall success. Trust is not something that can be demanded. It must be earned. It develops over time through consistent actions, open communication, and a sense of appreciation. In the workplace, when people feel valued and recognized for their contributions, they are more likely to trust their leaders, colleagues, and the organization as a whole. A simple thank you from a manager to an employee or from a colleague to another can go a long way in reinforcing trust. It reassures individuals that their work is seen, their efforts matter, and they are part of something meaningful. On the other hand, workplaces that lack gratitude often suffer from disengagement, low morale, and high turnover rates. When employees feel unappreciated, they may become less motivated to contribute at their full potential. However, when an organization fosters a culture of gratitude, employees feel a deeper sense of commitment, knowing that their hard work is recognized and valued. This trust in leadership and the organization leads to greater loyalty and dedication, benefiting both the employees and the business. Effective teamwork depends on strong interpersonal relationships. When colleagues appreciate and acknowledge each other's contributions, they create a work environment that is supportive and motivating. Gratitude encourages individuals to work together harmoniously, rather than seeing each other as competitors. It fosters an attitude of we over me, shifting the focus from personal achievement to collective success. Consider a workplace where gratitude is absent, where employees feel their efforts go unnoticed, where blame is quick to surface, and where competition overrides cooperation. In such an environment, teamwork struggles to take root because individuals may hesitate to collaborate, fearing that their contributions will not be acknowledged. Contrast this with a workplace where gratitude is a core value. Here, colleagues uplift each other, recognize efforts, and celebrate successes together. This creates a sense of camaraderie where individuals feel comfortable sharing ideas, seeking help, and supporting one another without hesitation. Gratitude also helps resolve conflicts more effectively. Disagreements are inevitable in any professional setting, but when a culture of appreciation exists, teams are more likely to handle conflicts with mutual respect and understanding. Instead of focusing solely on differences, individuals can appreciate each other's perspectives and find solutions that benefit everyone. This not only strengthens teamwork, but also contributes to a more positive and inclusive work environment. Leaders play a crucial role in setting the tone for workplace culture. When leaders express gratitude, they create a ripple effect that influences the entire team. A leader who regularly acknowledges the hard work and dedication of their employees fosters an atmosphere where gratitude becomes a natural part of daily interactions. Moreover, gratitude in leadership is not just about verbal appreciation. It can be demonstrated through actions. This may include recognizing employee contributions publicly, providing opportunities for professional growth, encouraging a work-life balance that values employees as individuals, creating open channels of communication where feedback and appreciation flow both ways. Employees who feel appreciated by their leaders are more likely to extend that appreciation to their peers, resulting in a workplace that is not only more productive, but also more fulfilling for everyone involved. Beyond fostering trust and teamwork, gratitude provides a competitive advantage in the professional world. Companies known for their positive work culture attract and retain top talent, as employees are drawn to organizations where they feel valued. Furthermore, teams that operate with gratitude are more innovative, as individuals feel safe to share ideas without fear of judgment. In client relationships, gratitude also plays a key role. Businesses that express appreciation to their customers build long-term loyalty. A simple follow-up message, a personalized thank you note, or a small gesture of appreciation can strengthen professional bonds and create lasting business relationships. In professional life, gratitude is not just a virtue, it is a powerful tool for building trust, teamwork, and success. It fosters an environment where individuals feel valued, relationships are strengthened, and collaboration flourishes. By making gratitude a habit in the workplace, we do not just improve morale. We create a culture where people thrive, innovation flourishes, and organizations reach new heights. So, whether you are a leader, a team member, or someone just starting out in your career, remember this. The simple act of expressing gratitude can transform a workplace, strengthen professional relationships, and pave the way for long-term success. Success is often seen as a personal achievement, the result of hard work, ambition, and perseverance. While these qualities are essential, the truth is that no one succeeds entirely on their own. Every milestone we reach, every accomplishment we celebrate, and every dream we realize is shaped by the people who have supported, guided, and uplifted us along the way. Success is not an individual pursuit, it is a collective effort built on the foundation of relationships, mentorship, and the opportunities provided by others. Behind every successful individual is a network of people who have played a role in their journey. These may be parents who encouraged us, teachers who inspired us, mentors who guided us, colleagues who collaborated with us, or even competitors who challenged us to be better. Each of these individuals contributes to our growth, whether through direct assistance or by pushing us to rise to the occasion. Think about the most significant achievements in your life. Were you entirely alone in reaching them? Likely not. Perhaps someone offered words of encouragement when you doubted yourself. Maybe a friend provided a fresh perspective that helped you overcome a challenge. Or a mentor shared their knowledge, opening doors that you could not have accessed on your own. Success is rarely a solitary effort. It is a culmination of the wisdom, support, and kindness we receive from those around us. Even in moments when we feel we have achieved something on our own, we must recognize the hidden contributions of others. The books we read, the education we receive, the infrastructure that allows us to work and grow, all of these exist because of the efforts of countless individuals. Acknowledging this interconnectedness not only cultivates gratitude, but also deepens our understanding of the true nature of success. If success is not ours alone, then it comes with a responsibility to give back. Just as we have been supported on our journey, we must extend that support to others. Sharing knowledge with a colleague or creating opportunities for those who might not have the same privileges we did. In every industry, those who reach the top often do so because someone believed in them, The most impactful leaders, innovators, and change makers recognize this and make it their mission to lift others as they climb. They understand that true success is not measured by personal gain alone, but by how many people they help along the way. By embracing this mindset, we move from a place of self-centered ambition to one of shared growth. We no longer view success as a limited resource, but as something that multiplies when shared. When we help others succeed, we strengthen our communities, improve our workplaces, and contribute to a world where more people have the opportunity to thrive. In a world that often emphasizes competition, it is easy to fall into the mindset that success is a zero-sum game, that for one person to win, another must lose. However, history and experience show that the greatest successes often come from collaboration rather than competition. Teams that work together, sharing knowledge and skills, achieve more than individuals working in isolation. Businesses that foster a culture of teamwork and mutual support outperform those driven solely by internal rivalry. Communities that uplift one another create opportunities for all their members rather than just a select few. When we acknowledge that success is not ours alone, we break down barriers that separate us from others. Instead of viewing colleagues as competitors, we see them as partners in growth. Instead of hoarding knowledge or opportunities, we share them, knowing that lifting others does not diminish our success. It enhances it. Recognizing that success is not ours alone also keeps us grounded. It prevents arrogance and fosters humility, and reminding us to remain grateful for the people and circumstances that contributed to our achievements. When we acknowledge the role others have played in our journey, we stay connected to our humanity and maintain a sense of responsibility toward those who are still striving. The most respected and admired leaders are not those who claim all the credit for their success, but those who express gratitude and acknowledge the contributions of others. They understand that humility and appreciation do not weaken their accomplishments. Rather, they strengthen their legacy. Success is not a solo act. It is a symphony composed of the voices, efforts, and encouragement of many. We are shaped by the teachers who educate us, the mentors who guide us, the peers who challenge us, and the communities that support us. When we embrace the idea that success is not ours alone, we cultivate gratitude, foster collaboration, and create opportunities for others. We move from a mindset of personal gain to one of collective growth, ensuring that our achievements not only benefit us, but also inspire and uplift those around us. So as we celebrate our victories, let us also remember to express gratitude, acknowledge the hands that have helped us rise, and extend that same support to others. Because in the end, true success is not just about reaching the top. It is about bringing others with us. Gratitude is often thought of as an emotion, something we feel when we experience kindness, receive help, or achieve something meaningful. While this is true, gratitude is far more than just a passive feeling. It is an action, a choice we make every day to acknowledge, appreciate, and respond to the goodness in our lives. It is something we express through our words, our deeds, and the way we treat others. Without action, gratitude remains incomplete. It is in the doing, not just the feeling, that gratitude becomes truly powerful. One of the simplest but most impactful ways to practice gratitude is through words. Saying thank you may seem small, but when spoken sincerely, it has the power to uplift, strengthen relationships, and create a positive ripple effect. Whether it's thanking a colleague for their hard work, a mentor for their guidance, or a friend for their support, verbalizing gratitude reinforces bonds and makes others feel valued. However, gratitude in words goes beyond just polite expressions. It is about genuine recognition, acknowledging people for who they are and what they do. A handwritten note, a heartfelt message, or a simple but thoughtful compliment can make someone's day. When we take the time to articulate our gratitude, we show people that they are seen, heard, and appreciated. Yet words alone are not enough. Gratitude is most meaningful when it is accompanied by action. True gratitude is demonstrated through our behavior. It is in the way we treat others, the kindness we extend, and the ways we give back. Expressing gratitude through actions can take many forms, from small everyday gestures to life-changing contributions. Acts of kindness, holding the door open, offering a helping hand, or simply listening when someone needs support are small but meaningful ways to show appreciation. These actions demonstrate that we value the presence and efforts of others. Giving back, gratitude often inspires generosity. Those who truly appreciate what they have are more likely to share their time, resources, and knowledge with others. Volunteering, mentoring, or donating to a cause are powerful ways to put gratitude into action. Supporting others. When we are grateful for the opportunities we've had, we naturally want to create opportunities for others. Whether in personal life or the workplace, supporting someone's growth through encouragement, mentorship, or collaboration is a profound way to demonstrate gratitude. Gratitude in action also means being present, listening with empathy, and showing that we value their time and contributions. Often the most meaningful expressions of gratitude are not grand gestures, but simple, everyday actions that show respect, care, and appreciation. Beyond words and actions, gratitude is a mindset, a way of seeing the world. Those who live with gratitude cultivate a perspective that recognizes abundance rather than focusing on what is missing. They do not reserve gratitude for special moments. They find reasons to be thankful in the ordinary. In challenges, life is not always easy, but gratitude helps us find meaning in our struggles. Instead of dwelling on difficulties, a grateful person asks, "What can I learn from this?" They appreciate the lessons in setbacks, the strength that comes from adversity, and the people who stand by them in tough times. In relationships, grateful people nurture relationships by prioritizing appreciation over criticism. They recognize the efforts of others rather than taking them for granted, and they focus on what is good instead of dwelling on flaws. In everyday life, gratitude is about noticing the small things, a beautiful sunset, a kind gesture, a moment of peace. Those who embrace gratitude as a way of life experience deeper joy and fulfillment because they choose to focus on what is present rather than what is lacking. When gratitude is put into action, it transforms not just our relationships, but our entire outlook on life. It makes us more compassionate, more patient, and more connected to others. It fosters humility, reminding us that success is not ours alone, and it strengthens our communities by encouraging kindness and generosity. More importantly, active gratitude creates a cycle of positivity. When we express appreciation, others are inspired to do the same. A culture of gratitude, whether in families, workplaces, or communities, leads to stronger relationships, greater trust, and a shared sense of purpose. Gratitude is not just about what we feel in our hearts. It is about how we choose to live. It is reflected in the way we speak, the actions we take, and the perspective we cultivate. It is a practice, a habit, and a force that, when embraced fully, can change not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us. So let us not wait for the perfect moment to express our gratitude. Let us make it a daily commitment to speak it, to show it, and to live it. Because in the end, gratitude is not just something we have, it is something we do. Success is often seen as the result of hard work, talent, and perseverance. While these factors are essential, there is another powerful but sometimes overlooked ingredient: gratitude. A grateful mindset is not just about acknowledging the good in our lives. It is a perspective that fuels resilience, strengthens relationships, and creates a foundation for long-term success. Unlike fleeting achievements that come and go, sustained success requires a mindset that is grounded in appreciation, humility, and continuous growth. Gratitude does not just make us feel good, it shapes our thoughts, our actions, and our approach to challenges. It keeps us focused on what truly matters, helps us navigate setbacks with grace, and fosters the kind of relationships that lead to enduring accomplishments. A grateful mindset is a success multiplier because it shifts our focus from what is lacking to what is already present. Many people chase success with a mindset of scarcity, always feeling as though they need more. More money, more recognition, more achievements to be fulfilled. However, those who practice gratitude recognize that success is not just about accumulation, but about appreciation. By focusing on what we already have, our talents, opportunities, and the people who support us, we develop a more positive and growth-oriented mindset. This allows us to approach challenges with optimism rather than fear. Instead of dwelling on failures or setbacks, a grateful person sees them as learning experiences. They appreciate every step of the journey and recognize that even difficult moments contribute to long-term success. Gratitude also reduces stress and anxiety, both of which can hinder sustained success. Many highly driven individuals experience burnout because they're always striving for the next big thing without stopping to appreciate how far they have come. A grateful mindset encourages reflection and balance, allowing us to celebrate achievements without feeling pressured to constantly chase the next goal. Success is rarely achieved in isolation. The most accomplished individuals understand that their growth is supported by a network of people, mentors, colleagues, friends, and family, who provide guidance, encouragement, and opportunities. A grateful mindset nurtures these relationships, making them stronger and more meaningful. In professional life, expressing gratitude in the workplace fosters trust and teamwork. Leaders who appreciate their employees build motivated, loyal teams. Colleagues who acknowledge each other's contributions create a culture of collaboration rather than competition. When people feel valued, they are more willing to contribute their best efforts, leading to long-term success for individuals and organizations alike. In personal life, strong personal relationships are essential for emotional well-being, which directly impacts professional success. A grateful person invests in their relationships by showing appreciation, listening with empathy, and recognizing the efforts of their loved ones. This leads to deeper, more fulfilling connections that provide the support needed to navigate life's challenges. Moreover, gratitude attracts new opportunities. People naturally gravitate toward those who express appreciation and positivity. Whether in business, networking, or leadership, a reputation for gratitude and humility opens doors that might otherwise remain closed. Successful individuals often attribute their achievements to the relationships they have built over time, and gratitude is a key factor in maintaining and expanding those connections. Sustained success is not just about reaching a goal, it is about staying successful over the long term. This requires resilience, the ability to adapt, and the strength to overcome obstacles. Gratitude strengthens resilience by helping us reframe challenges as opportunities rather than as failures. When faced with setbacks, a grateful person does not dwell on what went wrong. They focus on what can be learned. They recognize that failures are not roadblocks, but stepping stones to greater success. Instead of becoming discouraged, they appreciate the lessons embedded in adversity and use them to grow stronger. Gratitude also keeps us grounded. Many individuals who achieve success become complacent or arrogant, leading to stagnation or decline. However, those who remain grateful continue to seek growth and improvement. They do not take their success for granted. Instead, they appreciate the journey and remain open to learning. This humility and willingness to adapt are key to sustaining long-term achievements. A grateful mindset not only contributes to external success, but also to inner fulfillment. Many people achieve professional milestones only to find themselves feeling empty or unfulfilled. True success is not just about accomplishments. It is about finding joy and meaning in what we do. Gratitude enhances well-being by reducing stress and promoting mental clarity, allowing for better decision-making. Improving physical health, as studies show that grateful individuals experience lower levels of stress illnesses. Increasing motivation and energy, making it easier to stay productive and engaged. When people are grateful for their work, their teams, and their opportunities, they approach tasks with enthusiasm rather than obligation. This leads to greater efficiency, creativity, and innovation, all of which are necessary for long-term success. Sustained success is not just about talent or hard work. It is about mindset. A grateful mindset enhances resilience, strengthens relationships, fuels personal growth, and promotes well-being, all of which contribute to lasting success. It allows us to navigate challenges with optimism, appreciate our journey, and build meaningful connections that support our long-term goals. When we embrace gratitude, success is no longer something we chase. It becomes a natural outcome of the way we think, act, and engage with the world. So let us cultivate gratitude, not just as a feeling, but as a daily practice. In doing so, we unlock the key to a success that is not only achieved, but also sustained, fulfilling, and deeply meaningful. Gratitude is more than a fleeting emotion. It is a way of living, thinking, and engaging with the world. It strengthens relationships, builds trust, fuels resilience, and fosters a mindset that leads to sustained success. It reminds us that our achievements are not ours alone, but the result of the support, guidance, and kindness of others. When we embrace gratitude as an action rather than just a feeling, we create a ripple effect of positivity. We lift others as we climb, nurture the connections that sustain us, and cultivate an inner fulfillment that transcends mere accomplishments. Gratitude keeps us grounded in success, helping us appreciate the journey rather than just the destination. True and lasting success is not measured by wealth, titles, or accolades. It is measured by the impact we have, the relationships we nurture, and the joy we find in our everyday experiences. When we lead with gratitude, we do not just succeed, we thrive. And in thriving, we inspire others to do the same. So, as we move forward, let us not wait for extraordinary moments to express gratitude. Let us make it a daily habit to recognize, to appreciate, and to give back. Because when gratitude is at the heart of all we do, success is not only achieved, but deeply meaningful and long-lasting.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a place inside us where sorrow sits quietly. It does not knock, it does not shout. It simply arrives and settles. That is grief. And grief does not come asking for permission. It comes like the rain, unannounced and heavy. It drenches your heart, chills your bones, and leaves you standing still while the world moves on. But in that very stillness, there is truth. And in that truth, there is power. We live in a world that rushes past pain. Folks say, be strong, hold it in, fix your face, wipe your tears. But the strongest thing a soul can do is to feel. To open the doors wide and let the sorrow walk through every room. Honest grief is not weakness. It is sacred. It is the proof that we have loved deeply, that something or someone mattered so much that their absence rearranged our whole sky. When people grieve together, truly and openly, they lay down their armor. They drop the masks, the polite smiles, the rehearsed lines. And in that rawness, something beautiful begins to bloom. Grief becomes the soil and belonging becomes the roots. You see, when we share our grief, we say, I hurt too, I understand, I'm with you. And that understanding binds us tighter than any celebration ever could. Grief has a way of leveling us. It does not ask where you come from, how much you have, or who you know. It does not care for titles or trophies. It comes in like the tide, slow or sudden, and pulls everything familiar out from under you. And in that moment, when the world feels quiet and hollow, grief does something unexpected. It opens a door that leads not away from life, but deeper into it. Because when grief comes, it strips away what is shallow and reveals what is real. It reminds us that we are not made of pride or perfection. We are made of heart and breath and memory. And those are things every soul shares. When we allow our grief to be honest, not polished or edited, we are telling the truth of being human. And that truth is a bond, a quiet, steady bond that says, I've been there too. I've known that kind of silence. I've felt that kind of ache. And suddenly, two people who may have never spoken before find themselves nodding in the same rhythm. It is not pity they share, it is recognition. It is the soul whispering, I see you, I know you, you belong. There's no need for grand speeches or perfect words when grief is honest. There's just presence, a hand on the shoulder, a tear that slips without apology, a deep breath shared in the stillness. That is enough. That is more than enough. Because in that small moment, we are not strangers. We are not alone. We are bound by the invisible thread of pain that has been named and honored, not hidden away. This is the strange beauty of grief. It does not only tear, it also weaves. It weaves people together who might never have met otherwise. It calls forward those who have felt the same depth and invites them to stand beside one another without pretending. And in that standing, in that silent nod or gentle embrace, something strong is born. Stronger than opinion, stronger than pride, stronger than fear. It is a bond born of truth. And truth, when spoken through tears, carries a power that laughter alone cannot match. Too often, we think we have to hide our pain to be accepted. But what if it is our pain that makes us most relatable? What if it is our tears that speak the loudest in the language of belonging? What if our willingness to be seen in sorrow is the very thing that makes others feel safe enough to be themselves too? Grief is not something to run from, it is something to walk through. And when we walk through it with others, when we share its weight honestly, something sacred happens. We begin to heal not just ourselves, but each other. We begin to carry one another, not in pity, but in power, We say with our presence, I know this place. You are not alone in it. And that knowing is everything. So let grief be honest. Let it be heard. Let it be held. And watch how in its wake it leaves behind not just sorrow, but something far more lasting. It leaves behind connection. Real, lasting, soul-deep connection. And in that connection, we remember that even in our most broken moments, we still belong. When sorrow arrives, it comes without a warning and without a map. It does not knock gently. It settles into the chest, heavy and slow, and changes the way everything feels. Grief has a way of peeling back layers, of making the unnecessary fall away. In the hush that follows a deep loss, the noise of the world quiets. The small talk fades, the need to pretend disappears. And what remains is something raw, something real. In that rawness, people meet in ways they never could in laughter alone. You see, in joy, we celebrate. We gather in groups, we smile, we pose, we say all the right things. But in sorrow and true grief, we are stripped down. The carefully practiced roles we play vanish. There is no room for pretending when the heart is in pieces. And when another soul steps into that space without judgment or rush, something sacred takes shape. Two people see each other not as strangers, but as fellow travelers, both touched by something too deep for words. And in that place, where there is nothing to prove, the soul speaks clearly. Grief softens the edges of pride. It quiets the urge to impress. It makes the things we used to hide feel less shameful and more human. There is a softness in sorrow that allows us to be seen without defense. And when someone chooses to sit beside us in that place, not to fix, not to hurry, but simply to be, a connection begins. A connection built not on surface, but on soul. That kind of bond cannot be shaken. It is not easily broken because it was formed in the fire and cooled in the truth. In grief, the usual boundaries blur. A neighbor becomes a friend, a coworker becomes a companion. Even a stranger can become family in an instant when they look into your eyes and see something they recognize because they have felt it too. And that moment, that meeting in grief holds more weight than 100 cheerful conversations. It says, I know this pain, I've lived it. I'm here with you, not around you. And that here-ness is what makes the difference. People talk often about strength, but the strongest thing anyone can do is to remove the mask, let the tears fall, and let someone else see them in that truth. That is the root of trust. That is the start of belonging, because no one truly belongs where they cannot bring their whole self. Grief gives us permission to bring our whole self, wounded, messy, unsure, and find that we are still worthy of love, still welcome, still seen. When we grieve and we let others witness that grief honestly, we invite a different kind of relationship into our lives, one that is not based on convenience or performance, one that says, I will show up when it's hard, I will stay when it's dark, I will be here when you cannot smile. These are not ordinary bonds. These are unbreakable bonds. And they are forged not in the light, but in the honest shadows where real life lives. So do not be afraid of the tears. Do not be ashamed of the silence. Do not rush to be okay. Let the sorrow be seen. Let the masks fall, because it is in that unguarded moment that something eternal begins, a bond that will not shake, a connection that will not fade, a love that holds strong in sorrow and grows even stronger in healing. Grief is a lonely road until it is not, until someone steps into that quiet space with you and says, I know this pain, not because they read about it or heard it in passing, but because they have lived it. When grief is shared truly and gently, it transforms something inside us. It takes the isolation and turns it into understanding. It turns the weight we thought we had to carry alone into something lighter, something shared. This is how grief becomes the birthplace of unity, and how pain, when acknowledged together, finds a greater purpose. There is something about sorrow that strips away the unnecessary. When we are grieving, we are not worried about impressing anyone. We are not concerned with appearances. What we crave is understanding. What we long for is someone to simply say, I see you. Not to fix, not to explain, but just to stand beside us and make space for our ache. That kind of presence, humble and honest, can shift everything. When two people grieve together, they are not just mourning a loss. They are building a bridge that says, your pain matters here. Your story has a place. And slowly, that shared pain begins to bind. It starts to sew the torn edges of the soul with threads of recognition. In that quiet unity, healing begins. Not through pretending the pain is gone, but by realizing you no longer have to carry it alone. This kind of unity is not loud. It does not announce itself with grand gestures. It arrives in whispers, in long silences that do not feel empty, in the squeeze of a hand, in the meeting of two eyes that say, without words, I understand. Those moments are small but powerful. They are the building blocks of connection that runs deeper than time or distance. Because when someone meets you in your pain and they stay, not out of obligation, but out of love, you remember it forever. Shared grief also gives our pain a voice. When we speak our sorrow and someone listens with their whole heart, we are reminded that our story is worth telling, that our tears are not burdens, but bridges. And when we listen to another in return, we honor their pain as sacred. This mutual exchange creates something rare. A belonging that does not depend on having it all together, but rather on being real together. Grief, when faced alone, can shrink the world around us. It makes everything feel far away, but when shared, it expands the heart. It teaches us empathy. It teaches us to look past the surface and into the soul. It teaches us that unity does not require agreement. It requires compassion. It requires the courage to sit in the discomfort of someone else's sorrow and not turn away. Pain, when hidden, festers. But when spoken and shared, it transforms. It becomes the thread that ties strangers together, the soil in which deep relationships grow. That is the quiet miracle of shared grief. It turns something heavy into something holy. And in doing so, it gives purpose to the ache. It teaches us that even in our hardest moments, we are not only breaking, we are becoming. So when you find someone who is grieving, do not rush them. Do not fix them. Just sit, just listen, just be there. And if you are the one grieving, know this, you are not alone. There are hands reaching, hearts open, ready to walk with you. And in that shared walk, sorrow will not be your end. It will be your beginning. There is a quiet courage in showing sorrow. In a world that moves fast and smiles wide, revealing your pain can feel like standing bare in the cold. But grief asks for honesty, not hiding. And the moment we choose to be vulnerable in our loss, we offer something rare and sacred, not just to ourselves, but to those around us. We open a space where others don't have to tiptoe. We say without saying a word, this is a place where truth is welcome. Too often we believe that to be strong, we must keep our pain tucked away. We fear that if we show the cracks, the world will see us as broken. But it is in those very cracks that our light gets in, and even more beautifully, it is where others find a way to join us. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is invitation. It tells the hurting person beside us, you are allowed to feel too. It gives permission for connection. When we speak honestly of our grief, we break a silence that holds too many people hostage. And in that break, others find breath. They find words for what they've been holding in. They find comfort in knowing they are not the only ones stumbling through the dark. Grief can be isolating, but vulnerability brings a soft light that says, come sit with me. You don't have to walk this alone. This kind of openness doesn't require eloquence. It doesn't demand perfect explanations. It asks only that we tell the truth of what we feel. I miss them. I don't know how to move forward. I'm angry. I'm afraid. I'm tired. When we dare to say these things aloud, the world doesn't fall apart. It comes closer. Someone hears and nods. Someone else breathes easier. Someone lets their own mask fall. And this exchange, this unspoken agreement to be real, is what turns pain into presence. It's how strangers become family, how friends become anchors, how communities begin to heal. Because grief, when hidden, festers, but when shared through vulnerability, it transforms. It shifts from being a solitary burden to a shared experience. It becomes a circle where no one has to stand in the cold alone. Letting people into our grief also changes how we see them. We begin to recognize that everyone carries something. We start to hear the ache behind the laughter, the worry beneath the smile. Vulnerability helps us meet people where they are, not where they pretend to be. And that is where compassion lives. That is where real, unshakable belonging begins. Belonging doesn't come from perfection. It grows from truth. From showing up just as we are and letting others do the same. Vulnerability is the key that unlocks this door. It builds trust, not because it proves we have all the answers, but because it proves we are willing to be seen. And when people feel seen, they soften, they open, they connect, they remember they are not alone. So if you are grieving, let your truth be known. Let it speak in whispers, in tears, in silence. And if you are near someone who is grieving, listen with your whole heart. Don't rush their pain. Don't dim their sorrow. Just stay. Just honor it. Because in doing so, you are not only walking with them, you are weaving a bond that no storm can shake. Joy is beautiful, but it does not always reveal the deepest parts of who we are. It dances on the surface. It shines in celebration, but it rarely asks us to be still. Sorrow, on the other hand, takes us inward. It slows us down. It opens a door to the tender places we often keep locked away. And when two people meet in that space, not in the performance of happiness, but in the rawness of grief, they discover a connection that is unshakable. Shared sorrow forges bonds in a way nothing else can, because it asks for nothing but truth. When hearts ache in harmony, they begin to understand each other without explanation. A single glance can say what 100 cheerful words never could. A tear on someone else's cheek can echo your own. You know it not in your mind, but in your bone. That feeling of being pulled apart and held together at the same time, it is in this mutual breaking that people find one another. And not just find, but recognize. Like two lanterns in the dark, flickering toward each other with just enough light to say, I'm here too. Grief asks us to lower our defenses. It strips away the polished versions of ourselves we often present to the world. There is no pride in pain, no space for pretense. We don't get to hide behind accomplishments or distractions when sorrow grips the heart. And that is where something sacred begins. When another soul meets you in that exposed place, when they do not flinch from your sadness or try to fix your pain, but simply hold it with you, that is not a small gesture. That is love in its most courageous form. These bonds built in sorrow don't rely on time. They don't need shared interests or years of history. They begin in a single moment. A hand reached out, a word spoken softly, a silence honored together. They grow not because they are maintained, but because they were born in the fire. And anything forged in fire carries the strength of the flame itself. We often seek connection in all the places joy lives, but the truth is grief carves out a space wide enough for real belonging. It makes room for honesty. It makes room for presence. It allows us to drop the question of how we should be and simply be as we are. And in that being, someone else sees their own reflection. They say, I've been there. Maybe I'm still there. And suddenly neither of you is alone. There is something deeply human about pain. It is a language we all speak eventually. And those who choose to speak it together, who dare to share it openly, are not just surviving it, they are transforming it. They are taking what could have been a wall and turning it into a bridge, a way to reach each other, to hold each other, to remind one another that even in sorrow, we are never too far to be found. So do not be ashamed of your grief. Do not think it makes you less capable of love or connection. It is your grief that deepens your love. It is your sorrow that strengthens your bond with others. It is the willingness to be seen in your hardest hour that makes you a safe place for others to rest. Because the people who grieve together do not drift, they root, they remain. They carry one another when walking feels too hard, and in doing so, they prove that love does not vanish with loss. It grows stronger through it. There is a quiet kind of power in speaking your grief aloud, not in shouting it, not in trying to make it poetic or profound, but simply letting it breathe. Grief unspoken becomes a heavy silence. It lingers in the body, in the bones, in the spaces between conversations. But when it is given a voice, when someone dares to put pain into words, even if the words shake, it transforms. It no longer sits hidden in the corners of the soul. It steps into the light. And when that happens, something beautiful begins. That pain that once felt like a wall becomes a bridge. The moment we speak our grief, we invite someone else to step closer. Not everyone will understand the exact shape of our sorrow, but many will know the feeling, that ache of absence, that weight in the chest, that moment when time moves, but you do not. And when someone hears your grief, not just with their ears, but with their heart, a door opens. It opens to compassion. It opens to connection. It opens to the kind of belonging that does not require perfection, only presence. Speaking grief creates space, not just for the speaker, but for the listener. It gives others permission to feel, to stop pretending, to take off the mask of being okay. And in that shared space, there is no judgment, only honesty. People stop trying to fix each other and start holding one another, not in solutions, but in stillness. Because sometimes the most healing thing we can offer is to listen without rushing, to sit without fixing, to stay without needing to understand every detail. There is also healing in hearing your own voice name the sorrow. In saying it aloud, you begin to shape it. You start to understand what once felt impossible to hold. You begin to reclaim your story. Not because the grief disappears, but because it finds a place to rest. Words give it form. And when it has form, it can be seen. And when it can be seen, it can be shared. And when it is shared, it is no longer only yours to carry. This is the miracle of spoken sorrow. It does not deepen the pain, it softens it. Not because it becomes smaller, but because it becomes less lonely. Someone else steps in and says, I felt that too. And the moment someone echoes your pain, you realize you are not an island. You are part of a sea of souls. Each carrying stories, each holding memories, each finding strength in the same way, by being real. Too often we wait to speak until we are whole again. We wait until the tears dry, until we feel composed. But grief does not need polish. It needs presence. It needs voice. It needs to be honored in the very moment it breaks us. Because in that raw truth is where real connection lives. That is where we find one another, not in the victory, but in the vulnerability. That is where we create bonds not built on convenience, but on courage. Letting grief speak is not only about release. It is about reaching for understanding, reaching for comfort, reaching for someone else who might be holding the same ache quietly inside. And when those voices meet, when two sorrows speak and find each other, a bond is formed that nothing can shake, because it was built not on ease, but on truth, not on pretending, but on presence, not on answers, but on the willingness to say, I feel this too, and I'm here. Grief is not the end of love. It is its echo, its reminder, its lasting song. In the moments we dare to grieve honestly, we uncover a truth deeper than the sorrow itself. We are not alone. When we let our pain be seen, when we hold space for others in their breaking, we begin to stitch together something stronger than comfort. We create belonging. Not the surface kind, but the kind that stays. The kind that says, I see you even in your silence. I stand with you even in your storm. That is how unbreakable bonds are formed, not through perfection, but through presence. Not in the absence of pain, but in the courage to share it. So if you are grieving, speak it. If you see someone grieving, honor it. Because in those quiet exchanges of truth, we build something far greater than we ever could alone. We build community. We build compassion. We build connection that no storm can shake. Thank you for holding this space with me, for listening with your heart open. May you find strength in your sorrow and light in the ones who stand beside you. Good luck on your journey, and may love always find its way back to you, even through grief. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a quiet power that walks beside us each day, waiting to be noticed. It asks for no applause, it makes no loud demands, yet when embraced, it lifts the spirit from despair to dignity. That power is gratitude. Not a fleeting thank you tossed into the wind, but a deep and rooted knowing that every breath, every lesson, every sunrise is a gift. We live in a world that often teaches us to want more, chase faster, and feel less. But when we pause, when we breathe, and when we look around with grateful eyes, the ordinary begins to shine. This is not just a campaign. This is a calling to let gratitude rise in you like the morning sun and transform the way you live, love, and walk through this world. There is something mighty about a soul that wakes each morning and chooses to see the light before it sees the clouds. Gratitude is not a favor that life hands you when the world is kind. It is a strength you hold deep within your spirit, a quiet decision made in the stillness of your heart. To recognize the beauty in what is already yours is to hold the keys to joy, even while storms rage outside your window. Gratitude is not a visitor, it is a companion when you welcome it with open arms. Some wait for blessings to pour down like rain before they lift their heads and whisper thanks. But gratitude does not wait for perfect moments. It is born in the humble places where life is messy and uncertain, where answers are few and questions many. The soul that chooses gratitude before comfort walks with dignity. It knows the power of being present, of seeing the miracle in just being here. Life may not always feel fair, but it is always sacred. Gratitude begins when we decide that this moment, no matter how imperfect, deserves our attention and our respect. It does not ignore pain. It does not pretend everything is right, but it finds light in the cracks and sings anyway. Each morning you rise is an invitation to start again. Each breath is a reminder that you are still here and still capable of love, of growth, of giving. That awareness is not small. It is everything. To choose gratitude daily is to reclaim your voice from the grip of despair. It is to rise again and again, even when you have every reason to fold. Gratitude is not weakness, it is bold. It takes courage to look life in the eye and say, I will not be bitter. Y'all will not let this break me. I will see the lesson in it. I will honor the good, even if it is only a flicker. You will see, my friends, that the more you practice this sacred decision, the more your vision clears. Suddenly the small things swell with wonder. The touch of a loved one, the smile of a stranger, the stillness of night, all become treasures. And with time, you begin to rise with peace, knowing you lack nothing that truly matters. That is the richness of a grateful heart. It needs no parade to feel full. So let this be your vow, not for a season, but for a lifetime. To wake each day not with a clenched fist, but with an open hand. To say thank you for what is while still striving for what could be, to plant seeds of appreciation in every step you take, and to trust that what you water will grow. Let gratitude not be your reaction, but your way of being. It will shape you, it will sustain you, it will transform your life. My dear listeners, there is something holy in the spoken word, something ancient, something that echoes long after the sound has faded. When you speak your thankfulness aloud, you are not just offering words. You are releasing healing into the air, into yourself, into the hearts of those who hear you. Gratitude, when voiced, becomes more than a thought. It becomes a balm for wounds you did not even know you carried. Too many of us hold our thank yous inside, tucked away like secrets, waiting for a grand moment to give them breath. But gratitude is not meant to be silent. It longs to be heard. When you speak your appreciation, even for the smallest things, you give honor to life itself. You bless the giver, you lift the weary, you remind the forgotten that they matter. And in doing so, you remind yourself that you are alive and deeply connected to this world. There is a power that moves through you when you look someone in the eye and say, I am grateful for you. Those words can melt walls. They can soften hearts that have grown cold from neglect. Gratitude spoken is love in motion. It is kindness that carries weight. It does not need to be eloquent. It only needs to be real. And real words born from a sincere spirit have the strength to change lives. Do not wait for the perfect setting to express what you feel. Say thank you when your heart stirs. Say it when your eyes meet the morning sun. Say it when a stranger holds the door or when your child laughs without fear. Speak it even in sorrow when your soul is trembling, because sometimes that is when gratitude needs to be heard most. It can carry you through darkness like a lantern held steady by your own breath. Let your thankfulness become your rhythm, your song, your prayer. Speak it at the table. Speak it in your workplace. Speak it over your fears and into your dreams. The world needs your voice. It needs to hear the sound of someone who still believes that life is good even when it is hard. Your gratitude may be the light someone else is waiting for. Do not hide it. Do not silence it. The more you let your gratitude be heard, the more your life will shift. What you speak shapes how you live. It teaches your heart to look for beauty. It teaches your mind to trust the present moment. And it teaches your spirit to rise again and again with dignity. So speak it today. Speak it tomorrow. Speak it until your very presence becomes a thank you, walking on 2 feet. Let that be your legacy. My dear listeners, there is no shame in having walked through pain. Every scar tells a story of survival. Every tear holds the memory of a lesson earned through fire. Do not be so quick to wish your past away, for even sorrow, when held with reverence, can teach the heart how to love more deeply. Gratitude is not just for the sweet and easy days. It is for the bitter ones, too, for they have shaped you in ways comfort never could. You see, we often look back at our struggles with a wince as if pain was a mistake. But pain is a teacher, stern yet wise. It digs into the soil of your spirit and plants seeds you do not even know are there. And one day, when the light returns, you will see what has grown from the ground where you once fell. You will find strength where you thought only sorrow lived. That is where gratitude is born. The past cannot be changed, but it can be honored, not by carrying it like a burden, but by using it as a foundation. When you say thank you for what hurt you, you are not saying it was right. You are saying you have risen beyond it. You are saying that it did not destroy your light. And that is a kind of power no one can take from you. That is healing made holy. Let your gratitude reach even into those memories that still ache. Not to erase them, but to see them differently. Say thank you for the nights you cried and still got up the next morning. Say thank you for the voices that doubted you, for they made your voice louder. Say thank you for being left behind, because it showed you how to walk on your own. These are not easy thank yous, but they are the ones that make you whole. When you look back with grateful eyes, you break the chains of bitterness. You turn your past into a well of wisdom. No one gets through this life without wounds, but those wounds can be transformed into windows if you let the light of gratitude shine through. You will begin to see how everything has led you here. Every detour, every heartbreak, every delay, all part of a divine unfolding. So do not run from your story. Walk into it with grace. Bring your gratitude with you like a lantern. Let it light up the places you once tried to forget, because there is gold buried in your pain, waiting to be found by the one who dares to say thank you. Let that one be you. Let your past become the soil from which a deeper, richer life can grow. My dear listeners, there's a wisdom that speaks not in noise, but in quiet. A truth that waits for us in the silence we so often run from. In a world that moves fast and demands more, stillness becomes a kind of rebellion. It is in this sacred stillness that gratitude rises to the surface, like light breaking through a calm sea. To reflect in silence is to listen to the whisper of your soul. And in that whisper, you will hear how blessed you already are. Too often we chase after joy as if it lives in the next moment, the next prize, the next voice that tells us we are enough. But joy, my friends, has never left your side. It sits patiently waiting for you to notice. And when you stop, truly stop, you begin to see. The breath in your chest, the beat of your heart, the way the light dances on the wall, all of it is a gift. All of it is worth your thanks. Silent reflection is not emptiness. It is fullness waiting to be felt. It is the gentle unveiling of moments we missed while rushing. It is the place where we remember what matters and what never did. In that space, your eyes open to beauty that costs nothing. You begin to thank the ordinary, and in doing so, it becomes extraordinary. There is no greater richness than being awake to your own life. There are answers you have searched for in noise that only silence can give you. There is clarity that comes not in shouting, but in surrender. When you sit with yourself and listen, truly listen, you hear the voice that has always known the way. And that voice will show you how much you have been given, not in wealth, not in applause, but in presence, in purpose, in breath. That is enough. That is everything. The practice of silent reflection does not ask for hours. It only asks for presence. A few moments at dawn, a pause before the day begins, a breath before the next word. And in those moments, you build a habit of seeing. You learn to recognize the hand of grace in every corner of your day, and the more you see it, the more grateful you become. Gratitude grows in still waters. So take time each day to turn inward, to close your eyes, not in sleep, but in reverence, to be still, and to know that life itself is the gift. Let silence become your teacher and gratitude your song. You will come to understand that even in the quiet, you are never alone. The presence of gratitude will rise within you and guide your steps with gentleness and strength. Let it transform the way you live. My dear listeners, there is a grace in the act of giving thanks to others, a sacred kindness that reaches beyond manners and into the marrow of what it means to be human. When you offer gratitude to another soul, you are saying, I see you. I honor the light in you. You are not invisible. In a world that so often forgets to look up, to acknowledge, to truly connect, gratitude becomes a bridge between hearts. We live among people carrying burdens we cannot see. A smile may cover sorrow. Laughter may hide exhaustion. But when you pause and thank someone for simply being who they are or for something they have done, you speak to the part of them that is weary and waiting. You remind them that their effort matters, that their presence is not overlooked, that someone noticed the quiet good they bring to the world. Gratitude given to others is not weakness. It is strength clothed in humility. It takes courage to step outside of your own needs and speak words that lift. And when you do, you invite healing into places words rarely touch. It does not cost anything to say thank you, but it is priceless in what it gives. A word of appreciation can be the spark that reignites a fading spirit. It can be the thread that ties broken pieces together again. We must learn to say thank you, not only for grand gestures, but for the everyday mercies, for the hand that held the door, for the friend who answered the call, for the stranger who offered kindness without asking for anything in return. When we become generous with our gratitude, the world begins to soften. The harshness fades, and we begin to see one another not as strangers, but as sacred mirrors. There is something transformative about making gratitude your daily offering to others. It humbles the ego and lifts the soul. It turns comparison into compassion. It turns isolation into belonging, that who they are is valued. Let your gratitude be the seed that blooms connection. So I urge you, do not keep your thanks to yourself. Speak it, share it. Let it be seen in your eyes and heard in your voice. Let your presence become a blessing. When you extend gratitude to others, you are not just giving love, you are becoming it. And in doing so, you make this world a little softer, a little brighter, a a little more like home. Let that be the way you walk through this, my dear listeners. There is a difference between living by mood and living by purpose. Moods shift with the weather. They rise with good news and fall with sorrow. But purpose is steady. It is the quiet flame that burns through both joy and struggle. When you let gratitude guide your purpose, you begin to live from a deeper place. You are no longer waiting for happiness to find you. You are building a life rooted in meaning. Gratitude is not a decoration for the good days. It is the compass that keeps you true when life feels unkind. And when you let it guide your purpose, you walk with a knowing that each moment holds value, not because it is perfect, but because you are present within it. You begin to choose not just what feels good, but what feels right. And in that choice, you grow into the person you were always meant to be. A grateful heart does not chase after what the world says is success. It seeks what is lasting. It asks, how can I serve? How can I love better? How can I leave this place gentler than I found it? Gratitude shifts your focus from self to soul, from taking to giving, from complaining to contributing. That is the kind of shift that changes families, changes communities, changes lives. Purpose, guided by gratitude, is not loud. It does not need praise. It shows up in the way you greet the morning, in the way you listen, in the way you give without expecting return. It is steady and sacred. It is not swayed by every wind, because it remembers that life is a gift and each day a chance to honor it. When you live like that, even the hard days become meaningful. There will be moments when doubt visits, when your steps feel heavy and the road ahead seems unclear. That is when gratitude becomes your map. Look around, look within. Count not just your blessings, but the ways you have been a blessing, and you will find your path again. You will remember that you are not here to simply exist. You are here to shine, to serve, to rise. Let gratitude be the voice that speaks through every choice you make. Let it be the reason you stay kind when anger tempts you. Let it be the fire that fuels your dreams when fear whispers. When you live with purpose grounded in gratitude, you become unshakable. You live not just for the applause, but for the impact. And that, my dear listeners, is a life well lived. My dear listeners, you have walked with me through the quiet power of gratitude, through the choice to see beauty in the everyday, to speak thankfulness aloud, to honor your past, to pause in silence, to uplift others, and to live with purpose shaped by grace. This is more than a speech. It is a path, a way of being, a light you carry forward into the world. Let gratitude not be a moment, but a movement within you. Let it rise in your words, your actions, your very breath. For when you live in gratitude, you do not just survive, you shine. Thank you for opening your heart. Thank you for listening with your soul. And as you go forth, may life meet you with kindness. May your spirit stay strong. And may gratitude lead you to every good and necessary thing. Good luck on your journey. And thank you from the depths of my heart. Laddies and gentlemen, grit, that stubborn, unshaken, unbreakable thing that keeps a soul pressing forward when the road is jagged and long. Glory, the light that waits beyond the storm, the triumph of a heart that would not yield. Some say success is about talent. Some say it is about luck. But I tell you this, talent without grit is like a river with no banks, wild, wasted, and going nowhere. Luck without perseverance is a candle in the wind, flickering and fragile. It is grit that takes a dream and holds it steady. It is grit that turns failure into fuel. Oh, how the world loves the taste of instant victory. Fast wins, quick gains, easy ways. But I ask you, what is easy worth? A foundation built in a day will crumble in a storm. A mountain climbed without struggle leaves no wisdom on the soul. True success is not handed out like favors at a feast. It is earned, carved, and claimed by those who refuse to be moved by hardship. Grit outlasts talent. That is a truth many refuse to believe. Because talent is beautiful. Talent dazzles. It walks into a room and commands attention. But let me tell you something. Talent alone is like a seed with no roots. It may sprout quickly, may bloom early, may even fool the world into believing it will last forever. But when the wind howls and the storms come, when the sun scorches and the nights stretch long, talent alone will wither. It will fade. Because talent is a gift, but grit is a choice. And the choice to keep going, to press on when others quit, that choice will take you farther than talent ever could. The world is full of gifted people. Singers with voices like honey, writers who weave words into gold, athletes who move like poetry in motion, but look closely and you will see many of them never reach their potential. Many of them stop. They stop when it gets too hard. They stop when they don't see results fast enough. They stop because they thought talent alone would be enough, and when it wasn't, they didn't know what else to rely on. But those who last, those who rise and stay, those who etch their names into history, they are not merely talented, they are relentless. They do not stop. You see, grit does not sparkle the way talent does. Grit does not make a grand entrance. It does not announce itself with trumpets or fanfare. No, grit is quiet. It is the whisper that says, try again when failure laughs in your face. It is the unseen force that pulls a person out of bed before the sun rises. It is the steady beat of determination in a heart that refuses to surrender. Ask the greats, those who built empires, who shattered barriers, who rewrote history. They will tell you that talent opened doors, but grit carried them through. It was grit that made them stay late when others went home. It was grit that had them practicing in empty rooms when no one was watching. It was grit that taught them to rise after every failure, to sharpen their skills, to master their craft. Some will call it obsession. Some will call it madness, but those who know, those who have tasted the sweet victory that only perseverance brings, they will tell you it is neither madness nor obsession. It is devotion. It is discipline. It is the simple, unwavering truth that talent may give you a head start, but grit will take you across the finish line. There will be times when talent fools you, times when you succeed easily and think the road ahead will always be smooth. But life has a way of humbling the gifted, a way of testing those who think their talent makes them untouchable. And in those moments when the world no longer claps, when the applause dies down and the struggle begins, it will not be talent that saves you, it will be grit. The question is, will you have enough of it? Because make no mistake, the road to success is long. It will ask more of you than you ever imagined. It will demand sacrifice, patience, resilience. It will strip you down to your core and ask, who are you when it gets hard? Will you bow? Will you break? Or will you rise step by step, inch by inch, with grit clenched in your fists and fire in your soul? And that is why grit outlasts talent, because talent is a moment, but grit is a lifetime. Talent may get you noticed, but grit gets you remembered. Talent may give you the spark, but grit keeps the fire burning. So when the world tells you that you need talent to make it, smile. Smile because you know the truth. Talent may open the door, but grit walks through it and never looks back. Failure is a lesson, not a loss. That is something many struggle to understand because failure stings. It bruises the ego, it shakes the confidence, it whispers lies that make you question if you should keep going. But listen closely, failure is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It is the sharpening stone, the furnace where grit is forged, the hard and honest mirror that shows you where you must grow. The world has trained us to fear failure, to see it as proof that we are not enough. But that is a lie. The only people who never fail are the ones who never try, the ones who sit safely in the shadows, afraid to take the risk, afraid to chase the dream. But those who rise, those who push past every limit, they know failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Think of the greatest minds, the boldest innovators, the strongest leaders. They did not reach the heights they did because they never failed. No, they failed more times than most people ever dared to try. They failed, they learned, they adjusted, and they tried again and again and again until one day failure had nothing left to teach them and success had no choice but to step forward. Because every failure carries a lesson. Every fall teaches you how to stand stronger. Every mistake, every setback, every moment when the world tells you no is simply another page in your story. A page that, when read in full, will show the journey of someone who refused to be defeated. But the truth is, failure does not break people. Fear of failure does. The fear of looking foolish, the fear of starting over, the fear of what others will say when you stumble. That fear is what keeps people from taking the first step. That fear is what makes people give up too soon. But hear me now. No one who ever built something great did so without stumbling along the way. No one who ever left a mark on this world did so without first being knocked down. So do not fear failure. Expect it, prepare for it, embrace it, because the moment you stop seeing failure as an end and start seeing it as a beginning, you become unstoppable. You realize that every time you fall, you rise wiser. Every time you miss the mark, you learn how to aim better. Every no brings you one step closer to the right yes. The road to success is paved with failures, some small, some so crushing they make you want to walk away. But if you keep going, if you take the lesson, if you let failure shape you rather than shatter you, one day you will stand in a place where you can look back and say, every single stumble brought me here. And that is why failure is never a loss. It is the proof that you are trying, the sign that you are pushing beyond your comfort zone, the evidence that you are growing. Because the real loss is never failure. It is quitting. It is refusing to learn. It is choosing to stay the same when life is offering you a chance to become something greater. So stand tall, walk boldly, and when failure comes knocking, open the door, invite it in, and ask, what have you come to teach me today? Success is built, not given. Some people wait for it, believing it will come knocking like an unexpected guest, a gift wrapped in gold delivered by luck or fate. But success does not arrive unannounced. It does not fall into the laps of the idle. It is built brick by brick, step by step, through sweat, sacrifice, and an unshakable will. Look around. The world is filled with dreamers, people who want, people who wish, people who speak of all they could be if only the right chance came along. But wanting is not enough. Wishing does not build. Speaking does not create. The only thing that builds success is action. Consistent, relentless, disciplined action. Some people see greatness and assume it was granted, as if those who have achieved were chosen by destiny. They look at the musician on stage, the athlete on the podium, the writer with books in every hand, and they say they were born for this. But they do not see the years of unseen work, the late night, the early mornings, the moments of doubt that had to be pushed through. They do not see the countless failures that came before the breakthrough, because success is not magic, it is a process. A slow, sometimes painful, often exhausting process. It is showing up when no one is watching. It is working when no one is clapping. It is putting in the time when there is no promise of reward, no guarantee that today's effort will lead to tomorrow's victory. It is planting the seed and tending to it every day, even when it seems like nothing is growing. But many people stop. They stop when it takes too long. They stop when progress is slow. They stop because they thought success would be easier, that it would come faster, that it would require less of them. But those who keep going, those who understand that every effort is another stone in the foundation, they are the ones who reach it. They are the ones who turn dreams into reality, not because they were lucky, not because they were more talented, but because they refused to stop building. Some will say they do not have the time, the resources, the right circumstances, but hear me now. Success does not ask where you started. It does not care about your disadvantages. It only cares about what you are willing to do with what you have. It only cares if you are willing to take the first step, and then the next, and then the next, until one day you look up and realize you have built something unshakable. The truth is, success is not one grand moment. It is not one big break. It is 1,000 small decisions, 1,000 daily choices to keep going when stopping would be easier. It is built in the quiet, in the struggle, in the persistence of a soul that refuses to be denied. So do not wait for success. Do not wish for it. Do not sit with folded hands hoping it finds you. Go build it. Lay the first stone, and then the next, and then the next, until one day you stand on a foundation so strong, so unmovable, that the world will have no choice but to call you victorious. Patience turns struggle into strength, but patience is a hard thing to hold on to when the world moves fast, when everything around you whispers that success should come quickly, easily, effortlessly. It is hard to trust the process when you see others rise in what feels like an instant, when you watch people reach heights you have been climbing toward for years. But hear me now, anything built too fast will crumble just as quickly. Anything gained too easily will be lost without a fight. The strongest things in life take time. A tree does not grow tall overnight. A mountain is not shaped in a day. And the same is true for you, for your dreams, for your journey. The struggle, the waiting, the long stretch of effort where it feels like nothing is changing, that is where the real work is being done. That is where the foundation is laid. That is where you are tested, where you are refined, where you learn what you are truly made of. But patience is not passive. It is not sitting still hoping something happens. No, patience is active. It is showing up every day, doing the work, knowing that just because you do not see immediate results does not mean the effort is wasted. It is trusting that each step, no matter how small, is carrying you forward. It is understanding that even in the waiting, even in the struggle, something within you is growing. Discipline, resilience, wisdom. The world loves quick success stories. It loves the illusion of overnight greatness, but what it does not show is the years behind the moment, the failures, the setbacks, the sacrifices. It does not show the days when doubt crept in, when the struggle felt endless, when the only thing left to hold on to was faith in the process. And that is why so many give up too soon, because they expect quick results. And when they do not come, they assume it was never meant to be. But hear this, just because it is taking time does not mean it is not happening. Just because the path is hard does not mean you are on the wrong one. Every challenge, every delay, every moment of struggle is shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for what is coming. Because patience is not just about waiting, it is about enduring. It is about standing firm when the world tells you to quit. It is about believing in your own journey, even when no one else sees it. Success is not for those who rush, it is for those who endure. It is for those who understand that real strength is built in the waiting, in the pushing forward when everything inside you begs to stop. It is for those who trust that the struggle is not there to break them, but to build them. So do not be discouraged by the time it takes. Do not let impatience steal your progress. Keep going, keep building, keep believing. And one day when you stand in the place you once dreamed of, you will look back and understand. The struggle was never in vain. It was making you strong enough to carry the success you were meant for. Doubt is loud, but belief is stronger. Doubt will call your name in the middle of the night, whispering that you are not enough. It will creep into your mind when you are tired, when you have tried and failed, when the road ahead looks too long and the weight of your dreams feels too heavy to carry. It will disguise itself as reason, as logic, as caution, convincing you that maybe this is not for you, that maybe you should turn back. But let me tell you this: doubt is a liar. It has no power except the power you give it. Doubt will always be there. It does not go away no matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you grow. It will show up at every stage, knocking at your door, asking you to prove yourself again and again. And that is why belief must be stronger. That is why you must build a fire inside you so fierce, so unshakable, that no storm of doubt can put it out. Belief is not just hoping. It is not just wishing things will work out. No, belief is knowing deep in your bones that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you are built for the journey ahead. It is choosing to trust yourself, even when the path is uncertain. It is choosing to move forward, even when the voice of doubt screams for you to stop. But belief does not come easily. It must be built, just like strength, just like skill. It must be trained day after day in the face of failure, in the midst of struggle. It is in the moments when you feel like giving up that belief must step in. It is in the moments when doubt is the loudest that you must decide, who will you listen to? The voice that tells you to quit, or the voice that tells you to keep going? Too many people let doubt win. They let it talk them out of opportunities, out of risks, out of dreams. They listen to the fears, the what-ifs, the worries about failure. And because of that, they never even try. But those who succeed, those who break through the barriers, they do not succeed because they never doubted. They succeed because they did not let doubt stop them. The difference between those who achieve and those who do not is not talent, it is not luck, it is not even opportunity, it is belief. It is the choice to trust in their own ability to figure it out. The choice to try, to risk, to fail, and to rise again. Doubt is a wall, but belief is a hammer. Every time you choose to believe in yourself, you chip away at that wall. Every time you take a step forward despite fear, you weaken the power of doubt. And one day, if you keep going, if you keep believing, that wall will crumble, it will fall. And standing on the other side will be the success is never a solo journey. The world may try to sell you the myth of the self-made person, the lone warrior who rises without help, without guidance, without support, but that is not the truth. No one climbs to the top alone. No one reaches greatness without the hands of others lifting them, guiding them, challenging them. The right people make the difference. They are the voices that remind you of your strength when you forget. They are the hands that steady you when the ground beneath you shakes. They are the ones who see something in you before you see it in yourself. And make no mistake, who you walk with matters. The company you keep will either push you forward or pull you under. Some people will drain you. Some will plant seeds of doubt in your mind, feeding your fears, convincing you to play small, to stay where it is safe. Others will push you to grow, to stretch, to reach for more. The question is, which voices will you listen to? Who will you allow into your circle, into your mind, into your heart? Because success does not just require effort. It requires an environment that nurtures it. A fire needs air to burn, a tree needs rich soil to grow, and a person needs the right community to thrive. Surround yourself with those who believe in dreams, who know the value of hard work, who speak the language of perseverance. Surround yourself with those who celebrate your wins and hold you accountable when you start to settle. But it is not just about what you receive, it is about what you give. Because just as others have helped you rise, you must be the one to extend your hand to others. The knowledge you gain, the lessons you learn, the wisdom you earn, it is not meant to be hoarded, it is meant to be shared. Success is not measured by what you achieve alone, but by how many others you bring with you. There will be moments when you feel like you must carry it all alone, when the weight of your dreams feels too heavy for anyone else to understand, but do not let pride keep you from seeking help. Do not let ego convince you that asking for guidance is weakness. It is not. It is wisdom. It is strength. No one walks this road alone. And those who try will find the journey much harder, much lonelier, much longer than it needs to be. So choose your people wisely. Lift others as you climb. And remember, success is never just about you. It is about the impact you leave behind, the lives you touch, the legacy you build, not just for yourself, but for those who will follow. Success is not a mystery. It is not reserved for the lucky, the gifted, or the chosen few. It is built with grit, with resilience, with an unshakable belief in oneself. It is born from failure, shaped by patience, strengthened through action, and sustained by the right people. It demands that you keep going when the road gets hard, that you rise every time you fall, that you trust the process even when the results are not immediate. So as you walk forward, remember this: every challenge is shaping you, every setback is teaching you, and every effort is bringing you closer to where you are meant to be. Do not fear failure. Do not doubt your ability. Do not walk this road alone. Stand tall, move boldly, and never stop chasing the greatness that is already within you. Good luck on your journey, and may you build something so strong that the world has no choice but to remember your name. Thank you. Listen, child of the stars and soil, take a moment and breathe. Let the hush settle over your shoulders like a soft shawl. Let silence speak before you do. This world, with all its noise and hurry, often forgets the simple holiness of stillness. But here, now, in this space you've chosen, we will remember. We will return to ourselves. You are not just skin and bone. You are spirit wrapped in flesh. You are thunder wrapped in calm. And inside you, yes, inside you lies a well of wisdom, ancient, deep, and waiting to be heard. It has been whispering all along, like a river under ice, like truth behind fear. But now we listen. Close your eyes, sugar. Not to shut out the world, but to open up your soul. You spend so long looking outward, seeking approval, applause, love, dressed up in masks, but becoming your best self that doesn't live out there. It lives right here in your chest, behind your breath, beneath the quiet rhythm of your heartbeat. That's where your becoming begins. Stillness is where your true self remembers its power. In a world that spins fast and speaks loud, stillness might seem like a forgotten language. But hush now, let the noise fall away. Let your shoulders drop and your breath deepen. In that space, between one breath and the next, you start to feel something ancient stir, something that doesn't need words, something that doesn't rush. Your true self has been waiting there, patient, quiet, and strong. There's power in that quiet. Not the kind that demands attention or storms into rooms. No, this power is steady, rooted, the kind that knows its own name. When you sit in stillness, you are not running from the world. You are walking into yourself. You are peeling away the layers of should and must and not enough and finding what's real underneath. Too many days are spent in pursuit of something, chasing validation, chasing success, chasing a version of happiness that's sold like a product and worn like a mask. But your best self isn't something you chase. It isn't outside of you. It's not in a title or a number or a finish line. It's in the way you return to yourself when all else falls away. It's in the moment you sit with your own breath and remember that you are already whole. When you allow yourself to be still, truly still, you begin to hear the truth beneath the thoughts. You begin to feel the wisdom resting quietly in your bones. The noise of the world fades just enough for you to listen. And what you hear is not fear. It's not doubt. It's a deep, calm voice that says you've had it all along. Stillness isn't about doing nothing. It's about being fully present. It's where you notice the rise and fall of your breath, like waves returning home. It's where the heart speaks in a language without words, is where healing begins, not with effort, but with surrender. You spend enough time believing that your worth lives in your achievements, that you are only as valuable as you are productive. But hear this, your worth is not a wage. Your value is not a volume. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to justify silence. You don't need permission to be at peace. This guided meditation isn't here to fix you. You're not broken. It's not here to teach you something new. It's here to help you remember what you've always known, that you're enough, that you are light, that you are already becoming your best self, not in leaps or shouts, but in soft, intentional stillness. And as you rest in that space, you'll start to feel the clutter fall away, the comparisons, the pressure, the noise. You'll realize that you were never too much or not enough. You were just buried beneath expectations that were never yours to carry. Stillness gives you the space to lay those burdens down. It gives your soul a place to stretch, to breathe, to remember. And in that remembering, you gather the pieces of yourself with love. You see the beauty in your scars, the strength in your softness, the wisdom in your quiet. This moment is yours, not the past, not the future, just now. And in this now, you are not striving, you are not hiding, you're not trying to be something you're not. You are simply being, fully, deeply, honestly. And isn't that where real transformation begins? Breathe in, breathe out, settle deeper, trust the silence, let the stillness remind you. You don't have to force your becoming, you only have to allow it. The journey to your best self is not loud or chaotic, it is gentle, it is sacred, and it begins right here. Every breath is a chance to begin again. There is grace in the breath you just took, bald, unannounced, yet full of quiet possibility. So often we forget what it means to simply pause and breathe, not just to survive, not just to fill our lungs out of habit, but to truly breathe, to feel the air arrive, to feel it leave, to recognize that in every inhale there is a beginning, and in every exhale a letting go. You are not bound to yesterday. You are not trapped by the moments that broke you or the choices you wish you could undo. The beauty of life is that it moves with each breath, and so can you. Each breath is a fresh page, a moment untouched by regret, unwritten by fear, and in that space between inhale and exhale, you are offered a gift, the chance to try again, to choose differently, to return to yourself. You do not need to wait for a new year or a perfect morning to start over. You have already been given everything you need. You have breath. You have this moment. That is enough. That is always enough. Breathe in forgiveness, not just for others, but for yourself. Forgive the stumbles. Forgive the times you believed you were too broken to try again. Forgive the silence you sat in when you didn't know what to say. This breath is not asking for perfection. It's asking for presence. It's inviting you back into your own body, your own becoming. We spend so much time carrying the weight of what we haven't done, who we haven't yet become, but that heaviness doesn't belong to you. You were never meant to be buried beneath expectations. You were meant to bloom. And blooming doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, gently, with each breath, a little more of you unfolds. Let yourself be new. Let yourself be changed, not by force, but by the rhythm of breath that grounds you to this life, this body, this moment. There is no shame in starting over. In fact, the willingness to begin again is one of the bravest things you can do. To say, I am not done, I am still growing, that is power. That is grace. There will be days when your breath feels shallow, when your chest feels tight, when the world feels too heavy to carry. On those days, come back here. Come back to this simplicity of breath. Let it slow you down. Let it remind you that you are alive and that aliveness is enough reason to try again. You don't have to have it all figured out to take the next breath. You don't need a map to know you're moving forward. The breath will guide you. It will keep you steady. It will bring you back when your mind tries to run ahead or sink too far behind. Just breathe. In, out your rhythm. That's your reset. With every breath, you can release what no longer serves you. fear, doubt, shame. Let them fall away like leaves in autumn. You don't need them where you're going. Let them go, and in their place, draw in hope. Draw in softness. Draw in the strength that lives in quiet beginnings. Guided meditation is not about escaping life. It's about returning to it more fully, more gently, more awake. And your breath is the bridge. Your breath is the guide. You don't have to be anyone other than who you are right now. You don't have to do anything other than breathe and be. That is where the becoming begins. You're not late. You're not behind. You're right on time. And every breath you take is proof that you are still writing your story. Not with noise, not with rush, but with intention, with courage, with love. So breathe, darling, deeply, kindly. Let this moment be enough. Let it be your beginning. Silence isn't empty. It's full of the answers you've been seeking. You've been moving so fast, trying to catch up to something, maybe even to yourself. You've searched high and low, in books, in people, in voices louder than your own, hoping someone out there held the map to who you're meant to be. But hush now, be still. Let the quiet stretch out like dawn across your soul. Let the silence settle in your bones, not as absence, but as presence. It is in the silence that the truth comes forward. Not with fireworks, not with a scream, but with a whisper so soft it can only be heard by the heart that dares to listen. This silence, it's not a void, it's not a lack, it's a fullness so complete it doesn't need to prove itself. It's where all the pieces begin to align, where the noise of the world fades just enough for the wisdom within you to speak. You are not lost, love. You are simply surrounded by too much noise. And when you finally let yourself step back into the silence, when you stop running from it like it's something to fear, you'll discover it's been waiting for you all along. Patient, gentle, deep. You'll find answers you thought didn't exist. Clarity where there once was fog. Peace in places that used to ache. Meditation leads you there not to escape the world, but to truly meet it, to meet yourself, without the distractions that dilute your knowing. When you sit, you breathe and you listen, not for something dramatic, not for a sign in the sky, but for the calm voice that rises from the quiet corners of your spirit. In this space, you remember that you've always known what matters, that you've always had a compass buried beneath the noise. It's just been hard to hear it over the world shouting. But here, in this stillness, that voice gets louder, not because it changed, but because you finally turned down the volume on everything else. You don't need more information. You need more inner space, a place to breathe, a place to feel, a place where you are not defined by what you produce, but by the truth you carry. The silence opens that door. It doesn't ask you to be strong. It asks you to be honest. It doesn't demand action. It invites awareness. And when you sit in that sacred silence, you'll notice something beautiful. Your questions begin to change. The fears that once held your heart in their grip begin to loosen. You no longer ask, what should I be? You begin to wonder, who am I when I stop trying so hard? That is where the becoming begins. In surrender, not in striving. Silence holds space for all the parts of you, the strong and the soft, the unsure and the unfolding. It doesn't rush your process, it honors your pace. And in that space, you can breathe a little easier, you can forgive more freely, you can love yourself more deeply. Don't be afraid of the quiet. That's where the healing hides. That's where the old stories can be rewritten, where the wounds can be witnessed without judgment, where you realize that you don't need to be anything other than here, now, breathing, listening, being. This is where your transformation takes root, not in the noise of the world telling you to be more, but in the silence reminding you that you already are. Not in the pressure to become perfect, but in the permission to become present. And when you rise from that place, not rushed, not panicked, but centered, you carry the silence with you like armor, like balm, like truth. Let that truth lead you gently forward. Let it remind you again and again. Everything you've been searching for has been within you all along. The best version of you isn't out there, it's already within. So much of life is spent in pursuit, in the chase, in the striving to reach something just out of reach. as though your worth lives somewhere on the horizon, waiting for the day you finally become enough. We are taught to look outward for the answers, to seek validation, to measure ourselves by the eyes of others, to earn love by proving our value. But child, listen closely now. You are not a project to be completed. You are not a problem to be fixed. You are a soul unfolding, and your best self is not some distant version of you. It's the one who's been quietly breathing inside all along. You don't need to become someone else to be worthy. You don't need to be louder, smarter, faster, thinner, stronger, or more successful. That's the noise speaking. That's the world convincing you that you must transform into something other than what you already are, to be seen, to be accepted, to be loved. But the truth, the deep truth, is that becoming your best self isn't about changing into someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been, underneath the fear, beneath the masks, behind the expectations. This kind of becoming doesn't happen with hustle. It doesn't arrive when the world claps for you. It grows in the quiet moments when you turn inward, when you close your eyes and breathe and come back home to yourself. It begins when you stop running and start resting, when you stop reaching and start listening. Stillness brings you there. Silence welcomes you in. The breath carries you gently toward that center, where your truest self has always waited, unbothered, unbroken, unafraid. That part of you that doesn't need to prove anything, that knows its own worth, that shines not to impress, but simply because shining is its nature. You may have been told that your best self is some future version of you, wrapped in accolades or polished with perfection. But the truth is softer than that, kinder. Your best self is the one who chooses peace over pressure, who chooses rest over running, who chooses truth over performance. And that self isn't waiting at the finish line. That self wakes up with you every morning and whispers, I am here. I've always been here. Will you choose me today? This journey of guided meditation is not about building a better you. It's about peeling back the noise that told you the you that exists wasn't already enough. It's about creating space within to hear your own soul speak. And when you hear it, when you really let yourself hear it, you'll know you don't need to chase approval. You don't need to carry anyone else's version of success. You don't need to wear the labels this world gave you just to be safe. You can be you fully, fiercely, freely. Let this be your sacred space. Let the breath be your anchor. Let the silence be your mirror. And let your own presence, quiet and strong, be the reminder that you're not becoming anything other than more you, more honest, more open, more whole. And yes, there will still be growth. Yes, there will be change, but not because you are lacking, not because you are flawed, because you are unfolding like petals to the sun, because you are expanding into your own light, because you are brave enough to return to yourself again and again, no matter how many times the world tries to pull you away. So the next time you ask yourself if you're enough, breathe. The next time you feel behind, return to stillness. The next time you search for direction, listen to the silence. Everything you've been looking for is already inside you. Healing doesn't happen in a rush. It happens in your own rhythm. We've been taught to treat healing like a race, like something we need to push through, something we should have already figured out. But the truth is, there's no stopwatch on your soul. There's no deadline for your growth. No one gets to decide when you should be over it, no matter how softly or loudly they say it. Healing doesn't answer to pressure. It listens only to truth, and truth is gentle. Truth takes its time. You are allowed to move slowly. You are allowed to pause, to breathe, to stop and feel without needing to fix. You are allowed to not have all the answers yet. The heart is not a machine. It is a tender place. And healing is not about getting back to who you were before the pain. It's about becoming someone softer, someone stronger, someone wiser because of it. There's no shame in the parts of you that still hurt. No shame in the days that feel heavy. No shame in needing time to find your footing again. You don't owe anyone a timeline. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that pretends everything is fine when it's not. Your healing is yours, sacred, personal, and it cannot be compared. Stillness gives you room to heal. It invites you to stop pushing and just be. Not to ignore the wound, not to cover it up, but to look at it with kindness. To say, yes, this hurt me. Yes, I'm still healing. And yes, I am still worthy of love. Every breath you take in stillness is a balm. Every quiet moment you give yourself is an act of self-trust. You are learning to walk again, not on your feet, but with your heart. And sometimes that walk will feel like a crawl. Sometimes it will feel like standing still. But that is still movement. That is still grace. This path of becoming your best self is not without its cracks. It's not without its breaks. But the cracks are not failures. They are invitations, places where the light enters, places where you get to rebuild with intention, not to be perfect, but to be whole. And it won't always feel poetic. It won't always look pretty. Sometimes healing is messy and quiet and lonely. Sometimes it's just making it through the next breath. But even that breath is a victory. Even that breath is proof that you are trying, and trying is more than enough. In silence, you meet those broken parts of you without judgment. You get to hold them, not as shame, but as evidence that you've lived, that you've loved, that you've lost and somehow found the courage to keep going. And oh, how brave that is. There's wisdom in your wounds if you're willing to listen. There's strength in your softness. And as you sit in this stillness, you'll begin to hear your spirit whisper, I'm healing. I'm coming back to life. Not all at once, not in a straight line, but with every breath a little closer, a little clearer, a little more you. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are exactly where you need to be. And just like seasons, your healing has its own time. Some days will be spring blooming, light, filled with hope. Some will be winter, quiet, heavy, still. Both are necessary. Both are sacred. Let yourself move with the rhythm of your soul. Let yourself rest when rest calls. Let yourself cry when the ache swells. Let yourself laugh when light returns. All of it is part of the healing. All of it is worthy. All of it is yours. You don't have to force it. You don't have to rush. Just stay present, stay kind, stay open. Your rhythm is enough. Your pace is enough. You are enough. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. There is a quiet strength in you that doesn't need to shout to be known. It lives in your stillness, in your breath, in the way you keep showing up even when no one sees. The world often celebrates noise, big gestures, bold declarations, constant doing. But the deepest power rarely makes a sound. It moves like water, steady and sure. It doesn't ask for attention, it simply is. And in your journey to become your best self, you'll come to understand that your truest power comes not from proving anything, but from knowing who you are, from sitting with yourself in silence, with all the noise of expectation turned down and choosing to honor your voice, soft though it may be. This is not weakness, this is not shrinking, this is clarity, this is alignment. Power that is grounded does not flinch. It does not need applause. It does not chase approval. It stands with open palms, with a steady breath, with eyes that have seen darkness and still choose light. There is power in choosing peace instead of drama, in pausing before reacting, in responding with calm when chaos knocks on your door. There is power in saying no without explanation, in setting boundaries not to keep people out, but to keep your peace in. This power is not about control. It's about connection to your spirit, your values, your truth. Guided meditation teaches you how to find this place within you, to return to it again and again, no matter what's swirling outside. You sit, you breathe, and you remember. Your power does not come from performance. It comes from presence. It comes from stillness. It comes from that quiet, rooted space within where you don't have to try to be anything you already are. Even on your softest days, you are strong. Even in your most silent moments, you are heard by the parts of you that matter most. So stop waiting for the world to validate your strength. Start honoring the quiet power that's been guiding you all along. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. You just need to be true. Transformation begins the moment you choose to stay present. It doesn't take a grand event or a thunderous breakthrough. It begins right here in the pause, in the breath, in the stillness you once thought was empty. But it's not empty. It's full of the life you've been too distracted to notice, full of the truth you've been too hurried to feel. When you finally choose to stop running from yourself and start sitting with yourself, the shift begins quietly, powerfully. You start to notice how often you drift away into the past that's already gone, or the future that doesn't yet exist. You catch yourself gently, and you breathe yourself back to now again and again. That's the practice. That's the becoming. Presence teaches you how to feel without fear, how to listen without judgment, how to exist without apology. It's the ground beneath your growth, the foundation of every healing, every awakening, every bold return to the truth of who you are. And in that presence, even your pain finds space to soften, even your doubts find room to breathe, even your joy has a place to dance. Being here, fully here, is the beginning of everything real. It's the space where you remember your enoughness, where your breath becomes your compass, where your inner voice grows louder than the noise. You no longer chase wholeness. You realize it was never lost. It was only waiting for your presence to meet it. And no, it's not always easy to stay. The mind will wander, the world will call, but every time you choose to return, you rewrite your story, not with effort, but with intention, not with force, but with grace. You don't need to do more. You need only to be more present, aware, alive. Because the life you've been hoping to find isn't ahead of you. It's already here, in this moment, in this breath, and it's waiting for you to see it. As you stand here today, remember that the journey to becoming your best self is not about perfection. It is about presence. It is about grace. It is about showing up for yourself over and over again in every breath, every moment, and every choice you make. The power to heal, to transform, and to step into your full potential lives within you. It has always been there, quietly waiting for you to listen, to trust, and to believe. You are not defined by your past mistakes, by your doubts, or by the noise around you. You are defined by the choices you make in the stillness, in the quiet, in the moments when you choose to be true to who you really are. Keep returning to that truth, keep breathing into that space, and keep moving forward, one step at a time, knowing that the best version of yourself is already within you, waiting to be fully embraced. Good luck on this beautiful journey of becoming. May you find the peace, the strength, and the love you've been seeking, not in the world outside, but in the beautiful, quiet presence of your own heart. Thank you for allowing me to share in this moment with you.